Yeah. Right. So if we look at the left-hand one, this is, as we said, the first one you were doing, using that red line, you can see kind of more so from about here. This was actually okay if you just kept rotating your pelvis. What you tended to do now is almost rise up a little bit here. You can sort of see your right hip pocket sort of going up and your body kind of going up with it. The club then getting a bit steep. Kind of didn't really get the angles you want to try and get, causing that club to come back over the top and a little bit kind of scoopy at impact as a result, because you've got to move so far this way. It's hard to move that far. That sort of impact there, they say the hands behind the golf ball at 4.36. Top of your back is like 4.1, there you go, 4.07, so third of a second, and you've got to try and move that far. Now, there are times if you're swinging maybe slower or a shorter club, you can get there, but as that gets to a longer club, your club's coming down so blooming quick, you can't keep up with it, okay? So the feeling is you're trying to create some separation from that red line there, okay? So that's the move there. Now, this hip is actually sort of feels as though it's going kind of that way towards target, and you're creating that kind of spine angle, we said, like you would do if you were going to skip a pebble, hit a tennis ball with a tennis racket, so like high forehand topspin kind of lob sort of sensation. That's the move we're trying to make, and you'll feel it in that point there you're picking that one, okay? That's where we know the sort of pain, but you've got to feel it more so in terms of what the move is, rather than, oh, I got pain, I'm doing something good. Because if you don't get the pain, oh, hang on, what have I got to try and do now to get the pain? All right, you can't go, hang on, just jabbing yourself or something. So it's understanding and learning what that feeling is of how the lower half is going to work. And again, practice that and literally go at this pace, yeah? Do it super slow, feel the motion of what you're trying to achieve there. So your right hip moving behind you in this direction, getting that separation you can see there now from that sort of end of that red arrow. Then when you step to the golf ball, realistically, the focus now is to be on the golf ball. So we don't expect it to be as good as the practice swing, but if you do 4 or 5 practice swings over time, and some of the stuff we discussed, obviously at home with those 2 sticks kind of either side of you, when it comes to just hitting a golf ball, that movement's going to start to be ingrained. So when you move back, you can see there's a little bit of separation with that right hip. If I put a line on that right hip there, you can see yourself moving off it a little bit, still maintaining a nice sort of spine angle, left shoulder behind your left hip. And now we move to that red line. You can move through it. Your hands are kind of near enough on top of the golf ball. In time can move a little bit forward, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. I mean, okay, you hit a couple of shots where, oh, I felt my hands were forward and they were good shots. Is that going to be thinking about too many things? Possibly. I think this has got to be working better, the hips. When they work better, okay, the hands then sort of start to be implemented probably after that. But at the moment, that lower half movement is good, so therefore you can now move into that left side. Like I say, it could be a little bit quicker, but at the moment now, you're generally getting some separation with that right hip, which is good. It's just now moving that way when you're about here in the backswing, yeah? So when you're here now, you're already starting to push that pressure into that front left foot there, doing that when you're about here. Now, you think, oh, it's miles away, but in reality, it's like 1/10 of a second, yeah? Obviously, when you're doing that, that's going to be a smoother, controlled movement. It's going to help you get yourself more onto your left side without trying to fire yourself there, and it will help get your left hand kind of, or your hands slightly more in front of the golf ball, rather than you trying to sort of shove them forward, which at the moment you feel you need to do. Okay, so if we can get that separation, to do that work up against the wall there with that right hip, feel that movement there, focus on that fully, and when the ball's on the golf course, hit it.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, great stuff.
Good man, very good, buddy.